In considering homosexual programs in the public schools, one is always told that the goal is tolerance. It's not about sex, it's about tolerance. It's about civil rights. It's about human rights. It's about anything but sex, so they say. But when I recently attended the 10th Annual Gay, Lesbian, and Straight Education Network Conference, GLSEN, I heard quite a different story. You should know that this conference was fully supported by the Massachusetts Department of Education, the Safe Schools Program, the Governor's Commission on Gay and Lesbian Youth, and some of the presenters even received federal money. The audio excerpts you hear on this tape were recorded at this GLSEN conference. My experience, and what you are about to hear, was likely not a unique experience. This was my first GLSEN conference, and the majority of the tape you are about to hear was from the first 2 workshops I attended. To think that I could have been so lucky as to stumble into workshops that are not normal for these gay student-teacher conferences is highly unlikely. I would not be surprised if you heard the same things if you attended a GLSEN conference in your own hometown. Some of what you are about to hear is extremely explicit. This tape is intended for parents and adults concerned with the homosexual agenda in our schools and should not be listened to by children without parental supervision. If it's all about tolerance, why is the following question necessary?
Spit versus swallowing. I don't know about the calorie count of cum. All right, is it rude? Let's ask this question. Is it rude not to swallow? No, it's in good bedroom etiquette to lean over and spit out.
Tolerance. You just heard a public employee ask 14-year-olds if it was rude to spit rather than swallow during oral sex.
Okay, the first question is, what's fisting? A little known fact about fisting, though, is that you don't make a fist like this. When they do it, it's like this. This is a lot easier than this.
And then you work your way upward. You put one finger, you make the 2 fingers, 3 fingers. Some people can take a hand, some people can't take a hand.
It's about tolerance? If gay-straight alliances are not about sex, why are the people who run gay-straight alliances telling students about fisting? What you did not see is the man leading the discussion positioning his hand and showing 14-year-olds how to insert their entire hand into the rectum of their sex partner. Clearly, the goal is not tolerance, rather breaking down the natural sense of right and wrong of a child, putting him into an exploratory mode, and actually encouraging the child to put himself into a potentially life-threatening situation.
And what we do is have students go up to the board and brainstorm different responses, such as, if I was to come to terms with my bisexual identity, I might be willing to have, the second one, I might be willing to have sex more often if I found someone who was actually gay, lesbian, or bisexual, because I would think that they would be the only one. Sometimes students say, I would want to have sex just to prove if I was gay or not, because I figure if I had sex, then I would know. And then they say, well, I would have sex with not gay sex because I want to prove that I'm heterosexual and not gay, and I want to see, and I want to sample. I mean, there are a number of different responses. The impetus of doing this is, once again, to put them in an exploratory mode, not only for themselves, but also for the possible motivations and situations that other students could be in that they're going to be doing outreach to through the various events and through the one-on-one outreaches in the classroom.
Department of Education employees help children to get into an exploratory mode with their sexuality. They assist exploring teens to get together and to have sex to find out whether or not they are homosexual. Again, the people who come into your children's school to discuss homosexuality intend to put children into an exploratory mode to obtain a don't knock it until you try it attitude about homosexual sex. Not only do Department of Education employees help these children get together to have sex, but they discussed how sex might be better. Perhaps everyone should pierce their tongues.
Is oral sex better with tongue rings? Yes. And there you have it.
A tongue ring is a metal stud that is often pierced straight through your tongue. Here, 14-year-olds have already learned that a tongue ring makes oral sex better. In order to get high school students to talk so freely about sex, you have to desensitize them while they are still young. If you can convince them while they are young that homosexuality is normal and romantic, they will have no objection to it when they are older and considering having sexual experiences. The following recordings were made in a workshop entitled The Struggles and Triumphs of Including Homosexuality in a Middle School Curriculum. One of the purposes of this workshop was to demonstrate to homosexual teachers ways to get around the roadblocks that parents, principals, and administrators set up to protect children from the moral depravity of homosexuality. 12-year-old children, who ought not even be thinking about sex, wrote on the blackboard comments about homosexuality which reveal how little they actually understood what it was.
For homosexuality, they said don't knock it until you've tried it. Like if you haven't tried a vegetable, how do you know you don't like it? That was interesting. And also, when did you decide to become a lesbian? And have you ever considered becoming normal? Questions like that as they're playing the role in their presentation.
Don't knock it until you try it. 7th grade students equated trying homosexual sex with trying different vegetables as if the two were comparable. No 7th grader makes these types of statements on her own. She doesn't even know what she should be trying. This teacher has indoctrinated her 7th grade, 12-year-old students to believe that experimentation is the best way to learn about their sexual orientation. In this workshop, the lesbian teacher-presenter let the group watch a video she had her 7th grade students prepare to convince the administrators, principal, and fellow students that homosexuality was normal and not about the sex. 7th grade students are in no place to make determinations about sexual orientation. Additionally, teachers have no right to make students participate in a curriculum which will override the moral choices of their parents.
So now what I'm going to do is show you one of the student videos they did on homosexuality.
Are there more women homosexual than men? And we are going to prove that there is nothing wrong with being a homosexual. At the end of our program, or the last program, there will be a series of questions in which we will pause the video to see if you can get the answer right before we actually answer it. And, you enjoy the show.
As the MCAS scores show, a comprehension of history is lacking in Massachusetts schools. However, this lesbian teacher has found time enough to teach her students about the Greek acceptance of homosexuality. You are about to hear a 7th grade student tell her 12-year-old peers that celebrated homosexuality has a glorious history.
The word lesbian comes from the island of Lesbos, where Greek poet Sappho addressed her poems to women. Greek people encouraged homosexuality. In fact, it was considered normal for an adolescent boy to have an older, wiser man as his lover.
Did you catch that? A 7th grade student just told her peers that it was normal for an adolescent boy to be sexually mentored by an older and wiser man. We specifically tell our children not to accept candy from strangers. We specifically teach them to say "Mommy's in the shower" if no adult is home. But here, a Massachusetts teacher tells her adolescent students that they should be honored if they were sodomized by an older, wiser man. The actions of this teacher are reprehensible and without excuse. A famous poem in homosexual circles called The Homoerotic Order by Michael Swift states, "We shall sodomize your sons, emblems of your feeble masculinity, of your shallow dreams and vulgar lies. We shall seduce them in your schools, in your youth groups, wherever men are with men together. Your sons shall become our minions to do our bidding. They will be recast in our image. They will come to crave and adore us." Before today, this poem was easily dismissed as the rantings of a rabid homosexual activist. Today, it is fulfilled by Department of Education employees. The Department of Education and many school districts around the state fully endorsed what was taught at the GLSEN Teach Out Conference. It is not about safe schools. It is not about human rights. Thanks to our Department of Education, we have proven that homosexuality is about sexualizing your children.